Wondering how to make sure that people can find your business? Today, we're going to talk about that with Heidi Harris out of Raleigh, North Carolina. She always brings the fire. She's going to get super practical with you on the best way, the free way, to make sure it's easy to find you. All right, Heidi. So this is a continuation, really, of what we've done before. Just so much value given on Instagram. If someone hasn't seen that and they're watching this video, we're going to have that down in the comments and in the description. And on the podcast, we'll have it in the podcast notes. But listen, as we were talking about that, you kind of just briefly passed over Google My Business and the importance of this. And as you kind of prompted me to really start looking into this a little deeper to make sure that we were optimizing it for our agents. So I'm excited today to share with people the value and how important this is in their business. If you don't mind, listen, I think some people, they'll hear that and they're like, what's Google My Business? I would love for you to share your screen and just give us the visual, and then we'll go into why it's so important.
Perfect. Let's do that. Let me get the screen share on. You'd think I'd be a little bit faster at it with all the things that we've done with COVID. So what this right here is the business.google.com page. But what I want to show you is my team name is Home Sweet Heidi. So if somebody's just Googling Home Sweet Heidi, because that's what we're going for, right? Like if somebody's Googling Jimmy Burris, like then it would come up a certain way, but Home Sweet Heidi, this is what we're looking for. So when somebody does that, this is what shows up. Okay. So today we're talking about this right here.
Right.
Now, if later on you want to go through and like really make yourself look good on Google, go to the left-hand side and you can see, I got my website, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, right? Like these are things that other people are looking at. So maybe that's like a Google My Business 102 instead of 101. Yes. But for today, that's what we're talking about, is really how to get this set up, how to make it look nice, how to invite consumers to contact you.
Yeah. And Heidi, I think giving a little background on this is important too. Literally, Google is the #1 search site in the world. So if somebody's looking for someone, or they're looking to do a little bit of a check to see who somebody is, they're going to start with Google. And so what's amazing that Google does is they give us the ability for free to claim our own personal business page. So if you don't mind, let's talk about what that process is to get this set up, if you don't mind.
Don't mind at all. And something that I'd really love to share with people is I don't pay for any of this. There are people that pay hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars a month. That's awesome if that's what you want to do and if this is really what you want to capitalize on. But none of the things that I do, I pay for, I always do them for free. So I try to learn the smartest way to do it so that if I'm investing my time in it, I'm getting the ROI out of it, which is really what we're all here for. All right. So if you go here, it's just business.google.com. If you forget what that is, just Google My Business and it'll bring up the same thing. Okay. So you see up here, Google My Business. So this is my Google My Business page. And it's just, the bare minimum, just the data here, right? So nothing that we're looking at right here is too incredibly exciting. What we really want to look up in order to get it set up and get it set up wisely is over here on the left-hand side. So right now we're on the home section, but if you go, let's skip posts for right now. We can get back to that if we want to. Post is a little bit like, once you get everything set up, then you want to worry about your post. But right here on info. So you want to make sure that your name is written correctly. You want to make sure that you're selecting the right category. Also the address. The neat thing here about this address, Jimmy, is that Google wants it to have a specific address that a lot of people are not at. And what I mean by that is 3700 Computer Drive. That's where I am right now. That's my office. There's, I think, 120 realtors in this office. So ideally, if I could use my home address, it would show up more unique, which Google would like. However, for my MLS, we have to advertise everything as far as where our office is located, not our address. So I'm doing this just to be a good rules follower. But if your MLS is different, feel free to take advantage of that by using your home address.
And if I can add to that, Heidi, that's one of the processes is as you're getting this set up, Google wants to make sure that they're being authentic with this and that this truly is your address. So understand the address you're using, they're going to send you a pin in the mail that then you will verify that you did receive it at that address and that it is you. which helps you set yourself apart a little bit. Also, that address is critically important because it gives you that ability, really, if people are searching for things like, realtor near me or
Bingo.
whatever, your address is going to be the location. So if I'm sitting out in the parking lot and I just Google realtors in whatever, in Raleigh, North Carolina, near Computer Drive, all of a sudden Heidi's going to pop up. So it's critically important to have that address where you've got that. I've even had people that have told me they've used and done multiple pages where they'll do it in their farm areas. If they have a house in their farm area, if they have something
That's
where
genius.
they become very localized with this. So I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but that's critically important, when we see those addresses.
Yeah. So for me, I'm doing that to be good with my MLS, but if I could, I'd rather have it at my home because really I'd rather service my neighbors than the ones here, because this is like a pretty corporate area, but that's okay. Now, regarding service areas, this is really important because this is where you're letting everybody know where you are focusing. So for me, I have Raleigh, North Carolina, my hometown. But in Raleigh, if you are not familiar, it is the Triangle area. So Triangle is Durham, Chapel Hill, Raleigh. So I wanted to make sure that the research triangle is in there to really broaden the area there.
Does that give them, like, when they're doing the search? So now you're ranking based on those things because you've put in exactly where it is. So if someone's searching for that, that's the value of that.
Exactly. So if you want to say realtor near me in Raleigh, then that's going to help pop up, or like best realtor in Raleigh. Those are going to be the keywords that Google's going to look out and find, and it's going to bring that up. So that's why I have research triangle, Durham, and Raleigh in there, is to make sure that I'm ranking as high as I can when people are searching.
Good.
Now, as far as hours, this is a boundary thing. It's whatever you want, but I don't operate a cupcake shop. My doors do not lock. And if you're watching this, your doors probably don't either. So I went ahead and I said that I'm open 24 hours, Monday through Sunday. The reason is I didn't want somebody to see, oh, it's 6 p.m. Heidi's hours on this say, that she shut down. I'm going to go back and I'm going to Google somebody else that's still open. I don't want to miss that opportunity. So I have them so they can either call or email me during those 24 hours.
Yes, really good. And I will say this too. I love the fact, you can see here that if things change and all of a sudden you got this rash of calls at 1 a.m., you can always come back and change that. I mean, it's not going to happen, but you've got the ability to edit it after the fact a little bit as well.
Exactly. All of this you can edit, and all of this really, if you want to spend some money, you can throw some money at it. For about $500 a month, you can get pretty good up and running on here. But I don't do that right now. So I have my phone number, I have my website. Remember, if we're putting in the effort to go ahead and have a Google page set up, we want to make sure that they know how to get in contact with you. So make sure that you have all of that information in there. As far as services, I have that I'm real estate. It's a real estate agency. I can help you find a home, listing a home, or selling a home.
It's good.
And as you scroll down, there's this one area that you can, it's kind of like a, oops, didn't mean to open it. There we go.
Yeah.
It's more of like a intro to who you are. So make sure that it's warm, make sure that it paints a good picture of who you are, but you want to make sure that that's filled out, because again, when somebody goes to this right here, it's going to have all of that, boom, right there. And you want to have it good and filled out so that people know that you are a professional and you are taking this seriously.
Also, one of the keys there too is think of it from a search engine optimization. You'll notice that Heidi does Raleigh, North Carolina is mentioned in there. Home Sweet Heidi Realty. All of those are search terms that she anticipates people will be searching for, that would give her that ability to be found. So think of it that way. Think of, if you can, put some of the sentences in there where you're utilizing some of the things that people might search for in your area or for you specifically, and that'll help move you up on the page there as well.
And that is the perfect segue, Jimmy, because what I want to talk about next is getting the reviews.
Yes.
So we're realtors. We love a commission check, right? But you know what else we love? Mental paychecks.
Yes.
Those are reviews. Those are testimonials. How many times have you gotten an email that's like, hey, you did awesome. You did this for my family, whatever. And you're just, it feels good, but it's an email. It goes away.
Right.
These can stay and you get to look at them when you're having bad days, right? So these are my reviews right here. So, and I've got some cool tips and tricks about how to get reviews. But you just talked about keywords. So any review, if they're writing something like, Heidi sold, okay, here's one. Heidi sold my house before it hit the market, right? So when I respond, I want to say, to get your home sold in 0 days, right? Yes. I want to say things that if somebody says, home sold in 0 days or sold before it hits the market or whatever, I'm trying to make sure that I'm saying as many keywords as I can so that it continues to go up. I did hear awesome advice once for somebody on, for the Google My Business. And what they said is always repeat best realtor in wherever you are. Okay. So like best realtor in Raleigh. So if somebody Googles best realtor in Raleigh, you come up because of that. Yes. I think it's great advice. I think it's really hard to implement because if I said like, thanks for using the best realtor in Raleigh, right? Like that's a little hard, but if you can find a really great way to do that, to use those keywords so that when somebody searches it, it comes up, that will really benefit you.
Hey, Heidi, we've done that where we'll say, to kind of repeat back, we'll basically say, I'm humbled by the fact that you would say I am, and then put it in quotes, the best realtor in Raleigh. So it gives you that ability to have said it, but not be like, I am the best realtor, So it's doing it that way where you double up on that SEO there. And that gives you that capability to do that. I think I saw you had 56 reviews. I mean, that doesn't just happen, correct? So tell me how you worked.
I had to look.
So tell me how you worked on getting those 56 reviews. Are you asking for those, or how are you generating those and getting people to be driven to Google for those?
Well, asking reviews, it can sometimes be a little awkward, right? Mm-hmm. So I overthought it and thought, how can I make this less awkward? How can I make this really easy for our sellers or buyers? So this is what I do. At closing, when somebody's, there's always the hug and the, oh my gosh, you're so great or whatever. And I always thank them. And then I always say, if you don't mind, is it okay if I send you a link where you can share this testimonial with other people? They always say, yeah. But if I need to say, that's how I grow my business, that's how I can show people to trust me, then they're like, oh, okay, sure. But normally it's like a resounding yes. So I'm already getting the buy-in while they're in the moment of feeling gratitude. The other thing is nobody loves me more than my clients do on closing day, right? So what we do is, and I'll show you exactly what we do. My transaction coordinator, Kelly, sends this email. And it's saying hi to everybody. It's congratulating them on the sale of the house. Underneath here is the closing disclosure. So she's sending it to them so that they have it. But then she's also saying one of the best ways to help us getting the word out on how pleased you are with our services, here's the links. So we have Google's the top one. If somebody has to do only one, I'm going to choose Google. After that, we have Facebook. After that, we have Zillow. And then what she encourages people to do in here, as you can read, is just copy and paste it. Just click, paste. And some people, for this one, we didn't need to, but sometimes Kelly will say, if you're not sure what to say, here's some quick things to jot your memory, right? And it's like, we won out over 12 other offers and, Heidi made closing a breeze, whatever little things that she needs to do to kind of coach them through. That's always important because, gosh, there's nothing like when you get a client and you did so much for the client and then they wrote like, Heidi was great. And it's like, no. Thank you. But like, what about all those other things? So for some people, we do give them the, just to jot your memory, here's some things that you can say.
Heidi, we've even done it where I will say, and this is something that I did a ton of in my own business, I would do things where I would say things like, by the way, based on our conversation and the things that you mentioned, here's a paraphrase that I put together for you of just basically what you said. If you want to, feel free to just copy and paste this in there. 90% of the time, they do it. So That's awesome. Gives you the ability to take and just, if you're looking for certain words, like you are with sold in 0 days above ask price, or whatever it is, or, whatever it is, thanks for helping us win in multiple offers, whatever you're trying to get across, if you'll give them this, that most times they'll just copy and paste it. They love you right then. They'll do whatever you ask them to.
Yes.
So it is just the asking, and the timing on that is critical.
So we figure that hour, 2 hours after closing, the movers aren't there yet. They're excited, like they're sending pictures to their family. That's normally when we try to get them. So, and it's been great having Kelly that can just like have that on her checklist and she goes ahead and sends that out. And she's my transaction coordinator. So here are our testimonials here. Now, you can also check out your insights, photos. Remember, Google is an application, so they want you to use the application. So I did a free training with one of my friends who actually works for Google. And what she told me is that they want you to have at least 100 pictures up here.
Yes.
So, and like throw in some videos every now and then. So we don't have 100 yet. We'll get there. But make sure that you just send some put some pictures in there. And if you don't have pictures, if you're not a team or you don't have whatever, throw some selfies up there, throw some pictures of houses that you've sold, throw pictures of your favorite neighborhoods, whatever you can to fill that up will provide good content there and show Google that you're serious about your page, which will only help it increase.
Let me give you a little hint here also, because a lot of people, maybe if they're just starting this page and they've got a bunch of reviews over on Facebook or other places, take photos of your reviews on the other sites and put them in there.
Ooh.
And then all of a sudden they start looking at this and they're like, gosh, these reviews just keep coming and coming and coming. And so as you're building those, you've got reviews, you've answered the question and you've given Google what it wants, which is photos, but you've also reinforced who you are and how people have worked with you. So take advantage of those, pictures of people at closing, those types of things, or little quick videos of people being excited in their new house or whatever it is, or telling the story on the video side of, hey, I just had a closing. It's a great family. This is what they were looking for. We're so excited for their kids to go to school here. Just basically giving that ability to tell some stories on there with the video side of it has been super beneficial on the video portions also.
I love that. I love that. Now, and if you don't have your website done, you can just click on website here. They'll make a website for you. It's $12 a year.
Yeah.
They'll name it something like mine's homesweetheidi.com, but this is homesweetheidirealty.com. So you can always do that here if you want. And of course it's done by Google, so they play well together. But that's a good way to get you set up. Now, I told you, Jimmy, we got some tips.
Yes.
We got some really cool ways to seal deals, right?
Yes.
So when I go on a listing appointment, we've compiled all of my testimonials. It's just a regular Word document. It's 14 pages long. So if I'm leaving 14 pages of testimonials, I don't know who actually reads them. I don't know if they do read them, but it's the impact of you leaving it there that is just like, holy smokes, she knows what she's talking about, So we try to bring these on most listing appointments. I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes I don't bring it. And here's why. So I had a listing appointment last week. I knew that I was being interviewed by multiple realtor or by the seller was interviewing me and he was interviewing other realtors. So I wanted to make a big impact. And so I did my normal listing presentation. I went a little above and beyond on some other things, doesn't matter. And then that night, so I think the listing appointment was at like 10:30 in the morning. That night I printed this. I put a pink bow around it. Of course it's pink, Jimmy, I love it.
Of course. Yeah.
Put a pink bow around it. And then I left a bottle of champagne on top of it with a handwritten note. And it was like, hey, really enjoyed my time today. You have a beautiful home. Really look forward to making waves in this neighborhood when people see what we sell it for. Right. So something like that. And I texted when I left and I was like, hey, put a little something on your front door. Hope you have a great night. The impact that leaves is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And if they don't drink, I've also done it where we have like Home Sweet Heidi coffee tumblers. Yeah. And then I'll put like a Starbucks gift card in there or something. So it's just the extra effort of going and doing it. And also like when you leave a 14 stack page, people are like, whoo, but you have to get there, right? This isn't something that I just turned on yesterday and it's there.
Yeah. One thing I would love to add to this, Heidi, because we do something very similar, is that the pages have themes. So when we're printing this, the page that you have leading here, if the seller tells us that their biggest thing is convenience, in other words, they just don't want to be in a hassle, we have all of them loaded for the first page that are on convenience. The next page is about highest price. So we kind of organize those because they're not going to read all of them, but they'll read that first page. So if you know that it's just price to them, it's one after another that says they got me the highest price.
Sure.
And one is convenience. One is on, might be on timing. Or it may be whatever it is that's important to them. We try to lead with that front page because I'm like you, they're not going to read them all, but they will glance at the first couple. So making them specifically to what they're looking for really has a little impact also. We've seen a little extra effort on that. So
I love
this
that.
idea.
Great tip. Great tip. One other thing that I'd love to mention, and I actually wasn't going to mention, but you know me, I love to be authentic.
Yes.
I had a really bad review.
This is
So
good. This is good because listen, this happens to everybody. I'm so glad. I was going to ask you about this, but I'm so glad you brought it up because I think it's critically important to see how to take advantage of it in reality.
yeah, so I've got 56 Google reviews. 55 of them are positive. Actually, I think, can you see it in right here? I thought there was a screen where you could show it. Maybe not. But basically all of them are 5 stars. And then I've got 1 star. The background is this guy found me on social media. I was in his home. He tried to flirt with me, which was really awkward. And then I gave him some of my vendors. He didn't end up paying my vendors. And when he was not paying my vendors, I said, hey, that's not how I do business. I'm not going to list your house. Now, every other realtor out there, y'all, I had professional pictures. I had the measurements. We were about to hit go on the MLS the next day. So it was a bummer to terminate my agency agreement with him, but it was necessary. That's not how I do business. So I knew at that moment when I was firing him that he was not the type that would go away quietly. So a few months ago, let's see if I can find it real quick. A few months ago, he put up this negative review and I was crushed. Like, I remember thinking, like, he's going to ruin my business. You know, people aren't going to want to do business with me anymore. And what I did was I turned it into a marketing opportunity. So I'm going to tell you the story while I keep on scrolling here. But actually, this is great because this means that Google has buried his review, which is
there it is right there.
Here we go. All right. So Heidi Harris is the worst real estate agent I've run into in my 57 years of buying and selling. Okay, first of all, the guy's 57 years old. So unless he bought as a newborn, I don't know. Anyway, so I made sure that his review, I mean, it's Google, it cannot go away. But I took a few days. I probably took 5 days. And I really wanted to make sure that I responded in a good, clear, and professional manner. So I thought about it. I wrote a few things down. I deleted a lot. I came back and this is what I left up there. However, remember, I told you I used it as a marketing opportunity. So on my Instagram, Jimmy, you know, I love Instagram.
Right.
I went to my friends on my Insta stories and I said, hey, you know, this is what happened. Like, I'm devastated as a business owner. You know, this affects my family. This affects my business. Can you please do me a favor and help me drown out this guy's testimonials?
Yes.
And when I did that, I got, I think, 27 testimonials from friends that just, like, you know, they always meant to do the Google testimonial, but they never got around to it. And then they were doing that. I mean, it was like candy. Like, it was just coming in. And it made my heart feel so good to have that support and love from my friends and my sphere of influence. But it really did drown them out. And now when somebody goes and looks at my profile, if I could have my magic wand, I wish it wasn't there. But when somebody sees all these 5 stars and then it sees a 1 star, it's almost like it gives me a little bit more credibility because it's like, oh, she's real. You know, she didn't buy these things. These aren't, you know, this isn't her mama on here saying that she's the best realtor in the world. And then I want them to see this review and I want them to see how I handled it, because I think that if anything will encourage trust and let them know that I'll always do the right thing.
Oh, this is so good. That's such a great tip because listen, everybody's going to get that sooner or later. And the way you handle it, so we can't control what comes at us, but we can control how we respond. And you responded beautifully to that. And obviously, well, and not just that. I mean, your tribe responded beautifully back towards you to take care of that. And that just shows and says a lot about you. Let's just wrap this up with this. As far as Google My Business, what role does it play in your business? As far as where do you see it as a portion of your marketing, and where do you see that of value going forward also?
Value going forward, I want, if somebody is thinking about hiring me, I want them to go and see that I've had that many testimonials and feel good about it. Also, if they're considering me and somebody else, hopefully they're Googling and they see that and hopefully that wins. But I'm not giving up anytime soon. You know, maybe 56 is a lot, maybe it's a little bit, but for me, I want to build this day by day and I want it to be enormous. It's my resume. right? It's my resume without me writing it. So I want to make sure that when somebody goes there, they get a solid taste of who I am, and it's free. So by just doing the little bit of extra effort, Jimmy, I bet I spend, okay, between me and my TC, I bet that we spend 3 minutes a week doing this. This isn't anything crazy. Getting it set up, if it takes you more than an hour, you might be doing something a little wrong, right? Because it's really just putting in information. So take the effort, set it up, start asking for those testimonials. When somebody gives you a compliment, ask them if it's okay if you can send them a link to it. Oh, one thing that I'd love to share real quick, because Google made it super easy to share. Where is it? They made it so you can share this with your sphere of influence. I'm just trying to remember.
Give you a link.
Here it is. Share your business profile. So you can just click right here. You can put it on Facebook, Twitter, or you can just like copy and paste, and you can send that to them via text if that's easier. For us, we put it in an email because we're trying to also give our clients some value. But if it's like, hey, can I send this to you real quick? Sure, no problem. And go ahead and download the app for this, because on the app, it has, I don't know if you saw it, it was this right here, the 3 dots right here. On the app, it's in the top right. Just click that and it will send it. So if I'm sending it to you, Jimmy, it's like, hey, I'd love it if you left me a testimonial. So it's got a little bit of a preset verbiage in there, and you can just send it right to them on the app. That takes no time.
Perfect. This is so valuable, Heidi. Again, I think some people we gloss over this sometimes. There was a survey done. I was talking with the CEO for Testimonial Tree, which helps us with some of our testimonials. And the statistic they said is that now we are basically in the testimonial economy. That over 80% of people trust an online review as much as they do a personal recommendation right now.
Wow.
So the more testimonials you can get, the more you can utilize this. People are going to start by searching for you on Google. This gives you the ability to control the conversation by having everything that needs to be seen and the way for them to reach out to you right on that Google My Business page. Heidi, as always, you always bring the fire. Appreciate you with all the help. And listen, if you got something out of this, reach out to Heidi. Make sure if you've got some referrals to send up Raleigh way, make sure you send it to her. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching the video. I specifically chose the video below for you because it builds on the one you just watched. I hope it's helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.